Hello. Hello. All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? Very good. Okay. So welcome to Anthropology orientation class. Okay. I'm Dr. Arjun Bopanna, and I'll be handling your anthropology. Okay. So in today's class, we will just try and get a overview of what you will be preparing for in UPSC mains anthropology optional paper. All right, and what are the strategies, etc. we will try and understand. All right, so 8 o'clock in the morning, grateful that you all decided to attend this session. Okay, so just relax and enjoy the class today. Okay, so there will be no writing, etc. So just try and get an insight into what is anthropology. All right, so a little bit about me before we start. I've done my MBBS from Kempegowda Institute of Medical Science, after which I did my post-graduation in medical law from National Law School. I have been an international athlete when I was in my school. I've been coaching for civil services, especially anthropology, for past 10 years. More than 100 students have cleared so far. Okay, if we add you guys next year, so that will add to my numbers. Okay. And I have a published author. I have published books on anthropology also, on biological anthropology. So that's a brief about myself. So with that, let me talk about today's agenda, right? So let's try and understand what is anthropology. Okay, so a lot of us don't know this subject. Even I did not know until I entered civil services or preparation. So let's try and understand what is anthropology as a subject. Okay, what do you study, what does it deal with, what is its scope, etc. The syllabus that is there in UPSC. Okay, having understood anthropology, then the syllabus, what exactly we need to prepare. I'll not go into too much of details because obviously you are fresher, you will not be able to understand the technical words, but at least let me make a little bit sense of what you will be preparing for in your for UPSC. Okay, not from the technical point of view, but once we start the class, every time when we do a topic, I will tell you which part of the syllabus we will be covering. All right, and then what books to read, what is our plan, how do we cover anthropology, make it interesting, make it effective, so that we can balance our optional paper as well as GS paper. All right, and then towards the end, probably if I need to convince somebody, okay, to take anthropology, why anthropology towards the end. All right. So that's what we will be discussing today. All right. Right. So what is anthropology and why did you guys decide to come and attend this session early in the morning? Okay, what is anthropology? So let's try and understand what is that. Okay, so let's divide the word anthropo and logi. Okay, so anthropos means mankind. Okay, human, whatever. Okay, and logi is study. So basically it's the study of mankind, as simple as that. It's a scientific study of mankind and everything about mankind or humans, everything. So basically we study everything. Okay, or rather we can study anything that is under the sun, because everything affects humans. Is that okay? So there is actually nothing that anthropology cannot study. We can study the economic aspects, we can study the political aspects, we can study the cultural aspects, we study the biological aspects, the genetic aspects, the historical, the evolutionary part. Anything and everything absolutely can be studied under anthropology. Is that okay? So therefore, the scientific study of mankind is what is called as anthropology. Okay, now basically what do we study in anthropology is two parts. If we try and towards the end of our discussion on anthropology, you will realize that we would have touched upon two main areas of humankind. One is the culture and the society part of it, the cultural society, okay, the social and cultural aspect of human. Okay, the other aspect is the biological aspect. Both are part of anthropology. So when we talk about, see, we as a human, we are a biological organism. So we study the biological aspect of it. And at the same time, unlike other species, we are also a social animal. That means we socialize with each other. And we are the only species to have culture. So we study about culture also. A large portion of our discussion, almost 80% of our discussion is this social and cultural aspect of humans. Is that okay? So now if I tell you what is culture, how can we define what is culture? See, in anthropology we study culture, if I tell you that, right? So what do you mean by culture? So the dress that I am wearing, that is culture. The language that I am speaking, that is culture. The religion that I practice, that is culture. Okay, the other institutions like marriage, okay, like, political organization, that is culture. The economic activities that I do, that is culture. So basically culture is, can I say, way of life? Can I say it is my behavior? How I behave, I greeted you, good morning. So that's culture. Okay, namaste, that is culture. So the way we behave with each other, the way we interact with each other is culture. So we study the culture of people. And we don't do it alone. We do it with a group of people. So you are my society. So what is society then? Society is group of people who practice this culture. As simple as that. So we need to study people's culture and the way people organize themselves to form the society. That is what is studied in anthropology. So therefore you will be exposed in the class the various cultures of different parts of the world. We will be studying how different religious practices are there across the world and why it is there. We study the different economic practices like agriculture, pastoral society. Okay, we study about the hunting and gathering society. What is their behavior? What is their religion? How they organize themselves. So you are going to be exposed in our classes to various cultural practices across the world and we reason out why do they have it. What is the reason? We analyze it. We analyze it not from a just scientific point of view, but it is more socio-cultural point of view. That ultimately, why do we have culture? What is the reason that we have culture? It serves a purpose. Doesn't culture fulfill our needs? Tomorrow exam is there. Okay, prelims exam is there. What do you do? Other than revising your class notes. Just before you go, you break one coconut, you go to the temple, or you go to whichever religious places it is there. Why do you do that? Suddenly, everything, even though you have not studied, everything is going to come to you? No. Why do you do it? Why do you practice religion in this case? Because it reduces your anxiety. Right? And it has its effect. Because it reduces your anxiety, you can start recollecting whatever we have studied in the class. And probably you will be able to perform well. Is that understood? So, over here, for example, this is your case, your example. We will be studying about other people. Why do they have religion? For example, there are tribes who live in this island in Pacific Ocean called as Trobriand Islands. Okay, in Trobriand Islands, they live in series of islands where they have to go out, venture out in the rough seas. The sea is very difficult, very rough, very dangerous. Okay, they have to go from one island to another island for doing trade. But because the seas are so rough, nobody would want to do it. Right? But, they're all scared to do it. But there is religion practiced in them. There is magic that is practiced on them. They break one coconut or lemon or whatever we do. Similar things that they also do before they leave out of the island. Because they believe if they do this, nothing is going to happen to them. They are going to reach the next island very safely. You understood? Okay. So sometimes when things don't work out our way, what do we say? We say, oh my God, it's bad luck. Same thing in Azande tribe in Africa, they do the same thing. When there is something bad that happens to them, they believe that somebody else has done the black magic. And what is the opposite that they do, or what do they do to prevent it? They themselves will they themselves will do counter black magic. You understood? Okay, so like this, these are the cultural practices that we are going to expose ourselves in our classes to analyze why do we have it. Now I gave you a reason why do we have religion. Religion brings about optimism in our life. Whatever you say, whichever religion you practice, but at the end of the day, religion gives us optimism. Right? It says that yes, everything is fine. There's no water in Bangalore, it's okay. Religion is telling you, don't worry, it's going to rain very soon. Right? And then you do puja for rain also. So making you feel comfortable. Otherwise, what would have happened? There would have been riots. People would come on the streets, etc. So culture serves a purpose. So we analyze why do we have these cultural practices, how is it developed, and other things. So this is what is the main aspect of anthropology. We study the cultural aspects, we study the social aspects. When we say cultural aspect, we study the various institutions that make up our culture. Right? Family is an institution. In some countries we have nuclear family, in some countries we have joint family, extended family. Why do we have that? And today, as things are progressing or changing, today we have single parent family, right? Unmarried couples living together, live-in relationships. So why is it undergoing changes? Industrialization, modernization, these are the things that is leading to change. We study those things. We study about marriage, marriage rules. In some parts of India, like for example, in southern India, cross-cousin marriages are prescribed or preferred, It is preferred. Whereas in North India, such marriages are considered taboo. If you do that, gone, you're killed. Is that understood? Right? In South India, village endogamy is there. That means they marry within the village. But in North India, if you marry within the village, gone. Again, you are killed. You might have heard of these honor killing example. So, there are different types of marriages. There are different rules of marriages. In some country, there is dowry. There is some country, there is bride wealth. To get married, men have to pay women. You might be surprised, but that's the majority of the cases. Dowry is very rare. Some crazy people in some parts of the world practice dowry. But actually, majority of the people practice what is called as opposite of dowry, what is called as bride wealth. So we need to study those things. Marriage, what are the practices in marriage? What are the different rules of marriage? What are the economic aspects involved in marriage? Not only that, okay, in certain parts of the world, when the groom is not able to pay bride wealth and get himself a bride, he has to render service. For 5 to 7 years, he has to render service to the father-in-law. He has to go and work in the father-in-law's field. And if the father-in-law is finally happy after 5 to 7 years, they get the bride and the groom married. Otherwise, the groom has to pay compensation to the father-in-law and leave. And the kind of relationship the husband and wife have also depends upon the amount of money that they pay. If they pay full amount, they can take the bride and go home. If they pay partial, they can only visit the wife once in a while. If they pay a little bit less, they can only have claim over the son, but not the wife. So like that, you have different degrees of, relationship that is established through. See, you are laughing at it because it looks very new and interesting. They might be laughing at us saying that you only marry one person in your life. There are societies where they practice polygamy, where you marry more than one person. They might be laughing, only one, how do you do this? Is it okay? Are you comfortable? But we look at it that way. So what anthropology does is, it exposes us to all these new cultures, which makes us much more sensitive. That's why if you ask me, administrators, everybody should know anthropology. And that is also one of the reasons why Britishers, when they were colonizing India, okay, the civil servants of the East India Company, one of their subject was anthropology. That's how anthropology developed also, because of colonization. Anyways, so we study about marriage, we study about family, we study about kinship relationship, the blood relationship and marriage relationship. We study about economic institutions. How do hunters and gatherers live their life? How do pastoral live their life? How do, horticulturists live their life? And that in turn affects other parts of the society. See, for example, an agrarian society, okay, you need more muscle power. And therefore, men are more dominant in such society. If you take our example also, we are an agrarian economy. So therefore, therefore, our society is patriarchal, meaning male are dominant. But in horticulture societies like Kasis, Garos in northeast India, they are horticulturists. And in horticulture, the kind of activities that is performed, women have more to contribute. And therefore, who is more dominant there? Women are more dominant. They take all the decisions. They own the property. They inherit properties. Men are simply washing vessels at home. So we know these kind of complexity and diversity emerges because of various factors. So we study those and analyze them. Right? We study economic aspects, we study political aspects, we study how primitive societies have political institutions. We have modern society which has political institutions like democracy. We study, we compare how they are different, etc. One simple example, right? How many of you believe that human sacrifice is bad? How many of you believe? If you don't raise, then I think you, yeah? Okay, so all of you believe that human sacrifice is bad, right? We don't have water in Bangalore. Why don't we sacrifice some 3-4 people? We never know. It might start raining. That is what used to be practiced in primitive societies. So you're all against it because you know it doesn't work. Yes or no? But what about capital punishment? There is a rapist who murdered the victim after that. And the capital punishment, death sentence has been given to them. How many of you are okay with that? Right? What is the reason behind that? Why are you okay with this kind of killing and not okay with that kind of killing? You understood what I am trying to say? You are okay with killing somebody over here and not okay with killing somebody earlier discussion. So this is what we will be analyzing, how ethics changes in society. See, the reason why we have capital punishment today, if you read in GS and all, when you read polity and all, you will realize we have capital punishment because it acts as deterrence. It's not for revenge or anything. We give capital punishment because it acts as deterrence, meaning it prevents others from doing it. You believe it or not, anthropological studies have shown that human sacrifice also acted as deterrence. People when they are in difficult times, like when there is no water, when there is no food, okay, when they are struggling a lot, they will revolt. To prevent people from revolting, what the leaders used to do? The leaders used to sacrifice people. So that gruesome sacrifice that they conducted in public square acted as a deterrent to prevent others from revolting. So anyway, so these are the ideas, the nuances of anthropology that we need to appreciate later on. Is that okay? So political anthropology is studied, the different political system, the band, the chiefdom, okay, the states, how did they emerge, what are the features of them, how is law and justice given in different society. There's a tribe, okay, in South America where they are allowed to torture the accused until they tell the truth. So if a wife commits some has an illegitimate relationship, the husband has the right to torture the wife until she tells out the name of her lover. This kind of practice is allowed in societies, right? In some societies, among the Eskimos, okay, of North America. So over there, they do certain magic practices and invoke the spirits to tell who has told the lies or who has committed the crime. It happens even in our society. You might have seen in movies, they take oath on the religious book. right? So therefore, those traditional practices still continue. What is the whole purpose of taking oath on a holy book? Even our MPs, MLA, they take oath saying that we will do that in the name of God. Yes, what is the purpose? Because again, as I told you, it has a purpose. If you commit a sin by taking an oath, then you will be punished. Right. So these are all the political aspects that we study. So in culture, we study all of these things. Actually, if you ask me, very interesting, because you are going to be exposed, as I told you, to all different varieties of cultural practices that exists across the world. All right. Similarly, we study about the social aspects. When we say social aspects, group of people, how they interact with each other, what kind of relationship they have, okay, what are the status and what is the role. So basically, we study in society the status and the role of people, okay, in that particular group. Now, for example, this classroom can be considered as a society. All right. So I have a status, you have a status. Because of my status as a teacher, I have a role to play. I have a role to play. Right? Same way, your status as a student expects you to perform certain role. And that is what establishes this network of relationship. And that is what constitutes our society. As simple as that. Now, because I have a status and a role and you have a status and a role, it establishes a network of relationship. If that is broken, then there is a problem. If I start dancing over here, then obviously it does not establish a network of relationship and you all will walk out. The society will break down. Same thing is happening in our society. Now, a family, okay, is a society. It's a part of the society. Family has what? Father, mother, children. Parents have a status. Parents have a role to play. Right? Similarly, children have a status and they also have a role to play. Now, modernization is leading to what? Modernization is leading to change in the status, isn't it? Like say husband and wife is there. Traditionally, they had certain status and certain role to play. But modernization is leading to what? Change in the status. Women's status is changing because of modernization, legislative measures, industrialization, employment, etc., education. So their status is changing. So is the role changing? Is the women's role changing? I mean, yes. Women is today going out and working. Right? Earlier in traditional society, they were not allowed to change. So we can understand the changes that occurs in society by studying it from an anthropological point of view. These are the things that we study from socio-cultural point of view. Is that okay, guys? Very briefly, if I have to tell you, what is the cultural and social aspect of anthropology? The other important aspect of anthropology is this biological aspect, because humans are a biological organism. So we need to also study humans from that point of view. So we study human biology not from a medical science point of view or genetics point of view alone. We study how biology has shaped who we are. So we study the origin, the evolution of mankind. How did humans originate? How did humans evolve? Is that okay? So the different stages through which we have evolved. Alright, so while studying all these things, we also study human variation. When we say human variation, we study different races. We study what makes us different from people living in Antarctica, in Europe, in polar region. How they are different from people living in equatorial region. What makes it different? The temperature, the environment, and the cultural practices. See, for example, okay, you can go on to Chandra layout and eat all the pani puris and dosa and nothing is going to happen to you. Just imagine your cousin from US comes with his kid who has not lived in India. The kid eats one pani puri and for 10 days he is in the hospital, dehydrated, okay, on drips. So why? Because humans are different, not just culturally also, but also biologically. What makes them different? Because we need to adapt to our environment. So therefore we mold ourselves to adapt to this environment. So we study that in anthropology. We study the origin, we study the evolution, and we study human variation. So all those things and all that we study over here also can be applied for the welfare of humans. So we study the applied aspect of anthropology also. So to understand all of this, a little bit of genetics is also studied about genes, because ultimately all the information is coded or is in genes. So by knowing about genes, we will be able to understand the origin, the evolution, and the differences or variations among humans. This is what is anthropology. So anthropology, culture, society, and biological aspects is what is studied. All right. So very briefly, I mean, as we expose ourselves to more topics, these things becomes very, very simple and clear. All right. So broadly, we can therefore have the following branches. This is what is there in our syllabus also, in our universities, etc. So we have different sub-branches in anthropology, anthropology as a whole, and then we have sub-branches. One of the main sub-branches is social cultural anthropology. Social cultural anthropology, we study the culture, where we study the society of humans. Then we have physical or biological anthropology. Both the words are synonymous in the sense that the old word was physical anthropology. The more modern word is biological. Physical anthropology is replaced with the word biological anthropology. So that is where we study about human biological origin, human evolution. We try and study the human variations, right, and the reasons behind that. All right. Then these are the two main branches. In some universities, including India, we have additional branches that are there. One is called as linguistic anthropology. It is actually a part of socio-cultural anthropology, but in many universities it is studied separately. So I have just mentioned it over here. Then fourth one is archaeological anthropology. Okay, where again it's a part of socio-cultural anthropology, but in some universities it is separated. So archaeological anthropology is where we study the remains of our past culture. Socio-cultural mainly deals with the present contemporary culture, whereas archaeological anthropology, it deals with past culture. So these are the four main branches in anthropology, right? So in UPSC, right? So in UPSC, as I told you, we have this social cultural anthropology, right, where we study about culture and society. We have evolution, we have biological anthropology, we have biological anthropology. So these are all dealt with in paper 1. Is that okay? In paper 2, we have culture of India. We study about Indian culture and we study about the tribals. This is what is there in UPSC syllabus. So we study about socio-cultural anthropology, where we study different institutions like marriage, religion, and all of that. We study the contribution of various anthropologists. Okay, what have they contributed, how they have tried to understand culture and society. Then we talk about evolution. In evolution, we study about both physical evolution as well as cultural evolution. When I say physical evolution, what we basically study is how humans have evolved from our ancestors. The modern man, we call it as Homo sapiens. We have evolved from our ancestors in different stages. So we will study how they have evolved, what are the changes that has happened in this evolution. In cultural evolution, we will see how the modern culture came into existence. Okay, it all started with the stone ages, right? The stone ages, then the metal age, and then later. So we will be studying about the stone age and the metal age. The stone age are further divided into Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. Lithic means stone, Paleolithic means old stone age, Mesolithic means middle stone age, and your Neo means new. Okay, Neolithic stone age. And then metal age. So copper, bronze, and iron age. So basically we focus ourselves to prehistory. We focus on not historical but prehistory. History means where you have written record. We focus on prehistory, where you don't have written records, the Stone Ages. Alright? And in biological aspects, as I told you, we study about human variations, the differences. Basically, we will be studying about the variations and differences, racial differences, difference in growth and development, difference in demography. Okay, all these aspects are studied. To understand that, we also study a little bit about genetics. Then in paper 2, we will be studying about Indian culture. We will be talking about what makes Indian society, the value system of India like Purushartha, Varnashrama, okay, Rina, Karma, Moksha, okay, rebirth. These are the value system that is there in our society. Caste system. We study about different religion, Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, and how it has shaped Indian society. We study about the problems of various religion, minorities, groups. We study about Indian demography, right, Indian population, linguistic variations in India, okay, racial classification of Indian people. All those things are studied to know about Indian society and culture. Then among tribals, so tribals are exclusively studied by Indian anthropologists. So tribal, who constitute tribals, how are they classified? Classified on the basis of their race, classified on the basis of their language, classification based on their economic activities, on the geographical aspects. So what makes a tribe? What are their characteristic features? What are their problems? How are they administered? You know, for tribal areas, there are special administrative areas called as 5th and 6th schedule. What is this? How did this emerge? How was it during the British time? How is it now? How forest policies affect tribals? How industrialization affects tribals? What welfare schemes are there for tribals? Everything about tribals. Alright, so that is what we study over here, tribals, and a little bit about tribes and how our nation has come into existence, nation building. So we talk about ethnicity, communalism, regionalism, etc. over here also. So this is what is there in our UPSC syllabus. If you look at it, it's as simple as what it is. Is that okay? So you study a little bit about culture, you study a little bit about evolution, you study a little bit about biology, you study about a little bit about Indian culture, you study a little bit about tribals, a little about everything. So therefore, as I told you, anthropology studies everything. So every optional ka little bit part we are studying. We study about sociology, we study about public administration, we study about political science, we study about economics, we study about history, a little bit about everything we study. Is that okay? And that's how this also helps you in your GS paper. So this is what is there in your UPSC syllabus. You can go through it later after the class, a little bit detailed. I'm sure you might not be able to understand, but after 100 classes of anthropology, you will be comfortable with the entire syllabus. So that's the guarantee that I can give. So in our syllabus, so how we will be doing the class is also like this only. So I divide the entire syllabus of anthropology. Now if you go back home and you read the anthropology syllabus, I will give you a welcome document once the group is created. I'll share a welcome document which will contain all the necessary information, the previous year questions, everything will be there. So you have to go through it. The syllabus also, once you just go through it, but as we do it in class, individual syllabus topics we will take up and try to get ourselves familiar with. But for now, what are we going to do in our anthropology, in our classes is, the first part we will finish socio-cultural anthropology, where we are going to study what? The different cultural institutions like family, marriage, kinship, religion, economic, polity, okay, linguistics. All these institutions one by one we will study. What are the different types of marriages? Why do we have marriage? What is the function of marriage? How marriage is undergoing change? Right? Then the second part what we will be doing is Indian culture and society, where we will be talking about the Indian social system, right? The value system, the caste system, and various aspects of Indian people, that is linguistic classification, racial classification, etc. Part 3, we will be talking about tribals and other marginalized section, about them and all of that we will be studying. Okay, tribes, their problems, etc. That is in part 3. Then part 4, we will be talking about evolution. We will be talking about physical evolution, and then we will continue with our cultural evolution. Okay, both together if we are able to study, because both influence each other. Culture has influenced biology and biology has in turn influenced culture. So we study them together. So in part 4 of our syllabus, we will be discussing cultural evolution and physical evolution. And the last part, the 5th part, we will be talking about physical or biological anthropology. So this is how we will progress in our class. So your entire classroom program is going to be divided into 5 different modules. All these 5 modules are different. Okay, it's not so much interconnected. Is that okay? So all these 5 modules we will be studying separately. Okay, socio-cultural, Indian, tribal, evolution, and the physical or biological anthropology. You will get more familiar as we do. Today what I gave you maybe just an introduction or just a brief idea as to what we will be studying, but more in detail we will do it when we do our regular classes. So as I told you, socio-cultural anthropology, I think now we have already understood. Socio-cultural, we will be studying about people's culture across the world, not just India, across the world, its various institutions. All right, why do we have differences? Why do we have these cultural practices? What are the changes that is happening? Why these changes are happening? All these things are studied in socio-cultural anthropology. See, just to give you an example of marriage, as I told you. Okay, so we study about people's culture. One of the first topic that we cover, or first chapter that we cover, is marriage. Okay, marriage and then family. Okay, so in marriage we have different types of marriage, correct? Gamy means marriage. So when we say gamy, it is marriage. Monogamy means single pair marriage. So we study about that. I mean, everybody knows about it. Monogamy marriage, where you have one husband and here you have one wife. To add complexity to it, you have other types of marriage also, right? You have polygamy. Okay, so polygamy means more than 2 individuals are involved in the marriage. In that you have 2 variations. You have polyandry and polygyny. Andry means male, androgen, male. Okay, gyne, gynecology means female. Okay, so polygyny means multiple wives, plurality of wife, polygyny. Polyandry means plurality of husband, multiple husbands. There is a tribe in Himalayas, okay, Uttarakhand region, called as the Khasas. So the Khasis are in northeast, Khasas are in Himalayas. So there are 2 different tribes. So this tribe called as Khasas in Himalayan region. Okay, so this tribe is unique because they practice what is called as polyandry, meaning a lady is going to have more than one husband. And to add to this, the kind of polyandry they have is called as fraternal polyandry. Fraternal means what? Fraternity, in preamble you would have studied, no? Fraternity, brotherhood. So fraternal polyandry means what? See, it's all very common sense. You don't have to by heart. If you don't apply your mind, then you have to by heart. Okay, so polyandry. Poly means plurality, andry means husband. Plurality of husband. Now I am adding fraternal polyandry. What is fraternal polyandry? Fraternal means brothers. So what do you mean fraternal polyandry? The wife marries one person and automatically is the wife of the other brothers also. Is that okay? So the wife marries all the brothers of the husband. Is that understood, all of you? So multiple plurality of husband and all the husbands are brothers. That's called as fraternal polyandry. You have non-fraternal polyandry in other parts of the world. Leave that. Why I am telling this case is that over a period of time, there is provision that this group, this family, that is the wife and 4-5 husbands, have a provision to add one more wife. Have a provision to add one more wife. So what does that become? So that becomes polygynandry, meaning plurality of husband as well as wife. So that's called as what? Group marriage. So that is also practiced in different parts. Group marriage, that means you have multiple husband and multiple wives all living happily in the family. You might be like, oh my God, what's happening? Correct, no? But they might be wondering, you know, you guys marry only one person, is what I am trying to say. Is that okay? So this is the cultural variation. So that kind of practice is called as group marriage. For example, as I told you, Khasas. They are also called as the Jaunsari tribes of the Himalayan region. It is there in India only. See, that is why there is so much opposition with respect to UCC. What is UCC? Have you heard? Yes. Right? Civil Code. Uniform Civil Code. Uniform Civil Code. Why are they against it? Why? When you write tomorrow your essay, you have points over here. There are, see, what is UCC going to do? One type of marriage rules. Correct? No, one type of marriage rules. What about those who have different variations? Where will they go? Right now we have Special Marriages Act. But if you bring in, if you abolish all of those acts and make one single law, then what's the point? What's going to happen? Many of these communities are going to lose their culture. And hence, UCC is part of our DPSP and not justiciable as of now. So it's a question, debatable question, whether we should have UCC. See, our forefathers knew that there are so much of variation, we cannot force UCC. Today's political discourse is very different. We believe in forced execution of everything. But back then only they knew that there are so many variations, we need to respect it and allow it to survive. You get what I am trying to say, how you relate it with GS. Yes? So we have group marriages. And how did this group marriage emerge? Polyandry. There is one provision for adding one more wife. See, unlike here where, marriage is very emotional. We run behind the tree and all of that, and there is a romantic song playing, you come walk down the lane and all of that. In many societies, simple society, it's a very practical aspect. I need somebody to share my rent, so I will marry somebody. I need somebody to divide labor in my house, I will wash vessels, she will wash so we will get married. Is that okay? I need to buy a house, I need bride dowry, I will, it's all very practical in simple society. We make it all emotional and all, colorful in our case. So marriage serves such kind of purpose. Now, why do we go so, there are other kinds of marriage other than this. Okay, among the newers, you will believe it or not, there is something called as ghost marriage. Ghost marriage. Okay, so what happens? Let me try and illustrate this to you guys. So there is husband, which I represented by triangle, male are represented through triangle, and female is represented through a circle. That's how the kinship may, or that's how family tree may, it is drawn. So now they have got married. Okay, and then they are expected to have children. And among the newers, having children is very important, because in many societies, like even in India, if you have children only, then only you can enter the gates of heaven, is what is believed. Yes or no? Right? As soon as you get married, they will start forcing you to have children, because that's the responsibility that you have towards the society and to self. Because many society, many religion believe unless you have children who will do a pindadan, you will not enter the gates of heaven. Or whatever, you will not get moksha. In Hinduism, you will not get moksha. In other religion, you will not enter the gates of heaven. So better have children, is what is suggested by all religion. Same thing with newers also. If you don't have children, bad things will happen. So they got married, but unfortunately this husband died. Is that okay? This husband died. Now, this husband died without a child. Now, unfortunately, now his spirit is roaming around everywhere, haunting all people in Chandra layout. Now we have to find some solution to that, right? Okay, so movers are very practical people. So there is a solution. So what the wife is made to do, okay, she is allowed to have relationship, okay, with another male. After the death, is allowed to have relationship with another male. Generally, it will be the dead husband's male relative, either his brother or uncle or somebody. So she will be allowed to have relationship or made to have relationship with another male member of the society, family. Okay, and she is going to have a child or whatever. She is going to have a child. Now this child will be considered whose child? The dead husband's child. Is that understood? So this is called as ghost marriage. Over here marriage happened before his death. Imagine if the marriage, if he was not married, a bachelor, he was preparing for civil services, suddenly he died without marrying. Is that okay? So now he will not go to the gate. So therefore they will do a ghost marriage to him. His dead photo will be there. Okay, I am making a lot of fun about civil servants, aspirants. I do that a lot just for the fun of it. Okay, so there's a photo and that the lady gets married to that person, and that lady is allowed to have a relationship with somebody else, and the child born to that lady will be considered as child of ghost marriage. Arey, you are laughing at it now, but don't you think we are talking about surrogacy? We are talking about, what is surrogacy? You are hiring people. So that kind of marriage is also seen among the newers. When when the couple, not among the newers, among the azandes. Okay, so when you don't have a child, right, you can marry somebody else, okay, and have a child with them, but the child will be considered the child of the first marriage. All very practical solutions to problems in the society. So among the newers, there is ghost marriage. You understood what is ghost marriage? It's also a type of marriage which we will be studying. Okay, among the azande, there is male-male marriage. Okay, because there is shortage of women, men are allowed to marry another men and live happily. Is that understood? Over here, our society still is grappling with homosexuality and other things. Still opposition is there. Still we are fighting cases in Supreme Court. People in Azande are so forward thinking. They have already allowed. You want to marry a male? Marry a male. You want to marry a female? Marry a female. So male-male marriage, female-female marriage are all allowed in this society. We study why these things are there. You understood? This is what we study in anthropology, in socio-cultural aspects. Is that okay, guys? Right. And also changes that is happening today in our society. Monogamy is over. Now we are in the era of sologamy. Arey, who wants husband and wife here? We can live aram se single. So single is called as sologamy. But I want to enjoy the whole process of marriage. I want to enjoy the whole process of honeymoon. So there is one institution now called as sologamy. It was very famous in South Korea and all of that. And now it has come to India also. So in India also they are marrying themselves. Happily they are living, they are going on honeymoon also. So there are honeymoon packages in South Korea for sologamy. So as soon as you alone enter the room, there is nice bed decorated, everything, you are happy there. So that kind of practice is there, that is happening, which is being recognized in many societies. So even in India, very recently, like 2-3 years back, 24 years old, Kshama Bindu tied a knot with herself. Right? She only cried when she was going to her house only. So something like that. Is that okay? So sologamy. These are the changes that is occurring in marriage, is what we study in anthropology. Before we go into the next, another example, religion. Very interesting, right? So we have religion, as I told you, which serves the to fulfill optimism, right? You know two very common religion, that is monotheism and polytheism. What is monotheism? One single high god is called as polytheism. They might have local gods, but one single main god, that is monotheism. In polytheism, multiple gods. All gods are equal. You want for prelims, you go to one god. For mains, one more god. For interview, one more god. For postings, one more god. Okay, so that is polytheism. All are equal. Okay. There is so much of diversity beyond this. Okay, in religion. Just we will be studying each of them and understanding about them a little bit detail, but over here just let me give you an introduction to it. Animism, where we study spirits. You know spirits, right? Intangible being, supernatural. Animism, worshipping anima. Anima means soul. So when we worship the soul of things, that is animism. Animatism, energy, when we worship energy. So both are almost same. In soul worship, soul has a form. Okay, when you worship the soul of your ancestor, you know how it looks. It has head, it has face, etc. Okay, when you worship the soul of an animal, you know how it looks. In many countries, many part of the world, they worship animals. Okay, but in animatism, it does not have a form. It's just an energy, vibration. You touch it, you start vibrating. That is animatism. Okay, in India, actually we have almost all kinds of religion. In Hinduism, everything is there. Your Kantara is nothing but animatism. Right? Oh, they tell no, because you get that energy. Is that okay? Then we have fetishism. You might have seen people holding lemons and all that. Fetish means extreme love towards something. Right? Your necklace, bracelet, rings, lucky rings. Right? When you're writing prelims, all your fingers will have rings. Right? That is fetishism. Believe that that object is going to give you power. Then you have naturism, that means worship of nature. Then we have totemism, where we worship our ancestor. Totem is some object which we believe to be representative of our ancestor. It can be a plant, it can be an animal. Right? We worship several plants, several animals, believing that it is our ancestor. Like Ganda Berunda, in many they worship that because they believe that is their ancestor. Alright, then ancestral worship. If you talk about Hinduism, it has everything. Okay, that's why it is a very complex religion. Many tribes in our society in India, we have these religion which we will be discussing. At the end, what we also realize is religion is there, okay, because it brings us or gives us optimism. Alright, not only this, in religion chapter, we also study about black magic. We will try to do some black magic also. Okay, so witchcraft, right? All these kinds of practices are there. As I told you, in Azande, when something goes wrong, the people of Azande believe that it was done by somebody else. If you did not clear prelims, it's because somebody did black magic. So how do you solve it? Not by attending more tests, by doing counter black magic. Is that okay? So like that. So these are all forms of belief system. Why go so, why are you criticizing the primitive society or Azandes thinking that they are, their mindset is not mature enough, they are not advanced, they are not civilized. Why go so far? Come back to our own society. We have religion playing such a crucial role, right? Even in a modern, civilized, educated society, also there are religious people who try to manipulate us to bring about kind of optimism in us. Right? When COVID went on, what did we do? We really relied on religion. When inflation or when there was unemployment, we rely on spiritual gurus. When something goes wrong, then you go to them. So religion has been serving this purpose in the past, it is serving the purpose today, and obviously it is serving the purpose tomorrow. So that is why Babas and other things are the, again, very important. Spiritual gurus is a very important, very, flourishing sector, economy in our country. Yes or no? Because problems are not coming down. Problems are only increasing. So your reliance on religion will only increase. So this is all what we study in anthropology. Along with that, we also study, so these are the topics that we study in different chapters. Under this, we will be studying different examples and variations in cultural practices. We start with marriage, family, kinship, economy, political organization, religion, and language. So we study various institutions, these. We observe them. We study them. We understand the variations. We classify them and build theories. Now I told you religion is there to fulfill certain need, to bring optimism. That's the theory. For example, right? So like that we build theories. Okay. And also we study about the theories given by different anthropologists. Okay, we have different theories like evolution. Evolution says that culture was simple and it evolved and became complex as years passed. There is another theory which is called as diffusion, which says that culture was invented at one place and from there it spread to other places. The other theory is functionalism, which says that culture is there in order to fulfill certain function. We want to eat, so we cook food. We want to share our labor, so therefore we have marriage. We want companionship, therefore we have kinship. So like that, functional theory says or talks about how culture is there to fulfill function. Then culture personality theories are there, which says that culture shapes personality and personality shapes culture. So like that we have several theories. About 8 theories are there explaining about how culture came into existence. So after studying about different cultural institutions, we study about the theories given by anthropologists. Okay, so that is what is covered in social cultural anthropology. So about first 25 classes we will cover social and cultural anthropology, and we study the methods used by anthropologists to study various cultural aspects. Is that okay, guys? Any doubt with, we have not done much, but just the first part, that is social and cultural anthropology. We study the various institutions, we study the contributions that are made by various anthropologists. Alright. The second part is Indian culture and society. So we over here study what makes Indian society, that is Indian social system. We study about Indian social system, meaning the values of Indian society. See, whichever religion you belong to, there are some core values of what makes India or Indians. For example, whichever religion you are in, most of them will say, oh my God, karma, what am I doing 8 o'clock in the morning? So karma is a value system, is an example. The belief in rebirth, the belief in rina, our duty towards others. I have a duty towards you, you have a duty towards me, I have a duty towards my parents. These are rina, obligations. It's there in Indian society. Okay, same way, your moksha. So these are all value system that makes us who we are as Indians. Along with that, we also have caste. Okay, how we organize ourselves in the society, caste system. Then we have family system of India, nuclear family, joint family, etc. So we study about all that what makes Indian society. We also study about different religion and how they contribute towards making of India, how Islam contributed towards India, how Christianity contributed towards Indian society. For example, all of you like biryani, all of you like pulao. It's a contribution by Islam. All of you are wearing chudidar, girls who are wearing chudidar. It's a contribution from Islam. That language that I am speaking today is a contribution of Christianity. So like that, how different religion has contributed towards what we are. Then we also study about the social change that is happening in India. Modernization, westernization, Sanskritization, how Indian society is undergoing change. And how media, how democracy is affecting this change, how media is bringing about change, how democracy, Panchayati Raj is bringing about change, right? So the change we study. Then we classify Indian population on the basis of language, on the basis of race, the demographic pattern of India, okay, regional variations in that. Okay, so in this, when we classify, we also study about minority religion, their problems. We study about linguistic minorities and their problems. We also study about nation building. In nation building, we study about regionalism, communalism, ethnicity. Correct? No, we have heard about this. Every region today, is ascertaining their, monopoly over resources. Okay, like we are having various organizations fighting for Kannada language in Karnataka, Marathi language in Maharashtra. Okay, South India versus North India with respect to Hindi imposition. All these are aspects of regionalism. You have ethnic violence happening in Northeast due to ethnicity. We have communal violence happening across India because of religious differences. All these things are studied in Indian anthropology. Is that okay? Indian anthropology studies Indian culture and society. Is that okay, guys? A little bit. These are all from the general studies point of view also. Will be very useful from general studies point of view. Then we study, the next is tribal anthropology. These are all very simple topics. 10 classes we finish off. Okay, tribal anthropology, we study about the tribes, we classify them, their problems, administration of tribal areas, forest policy and tribes. These are the main aspects of what we study among the tribes. Who are tribes, their characteristics and their problems. Okay, so that is tribes of India. So I am not going to write it, what I just explained, that's what we will be discussing. Then part 4, as I told you, is evolution. So you have human physical evolution and human cultural evolution. So human physical evolution is what we will be starting first, where we will be studying the basics of evolution. You might have heard about Darwin's theory. Yes, so we will be studying about Darwin's theory. Okay, post-Darwin's theories to explain how evolution occurs. How from a simple cell organism, how did this complex human being emerge? And what are the factors that affect it? Is that okay? And we also study the different stages of evolution. Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Neanderthals and Homo sapiens sapiens. Like this, there are 5 stages through which humans have evolved. What are the characteristic features? Where they were found? Which part of the world did they origin and how did they spread? That's what we will be studying in physical evolution. And in cultural evolution, we will be obviously studying, mainly we will be focusing on prehistory. Prehistory, where we will be studying about the Stone Age and we will be studying about the Metal Age. So Stone Age, we have Old Stone Age, Middle Stone Age and New Stone Age. Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic, its characteristics, what are the features that distinguishes one from the other, how did it evolve, what were the factors that led to this evolution. The same thing we are going to apply to India also in paper 2. We will be studying it together only, but with respect to Indian prehistory, we will be studying in paper 2 or it will be applicable to paper 2. We study about the Old Stone Age in India, Middle Stone Age in India, Neo Stone Age in India and Metal Age in India. And at the same time, we also study proto-history of India. When we say proto-history, it is Harappan civilization. Again, this is the reason is because it's not history because we don't have written records, or rather the written script of Harappan civilization has not yet been deciphered. So it is categorized as proto-history between prehistory and history. So we also study about Harappan civilization, Indus Valley civilization and little bit about post-Indus Valley civilization, which is called as Chalcolithic. Chalco means copper. Lithic means stone. So copper stone age, where stone was used primarily, along with stone, copper was added. So that is what we study in Indian anthropology as part of paper 2, but together. So here we study about physical evolution and your human evolution in India. Is that okay, guys? So this is part of the evolution. And the last part, the fifth part, is your biological evolution. So mainly in biological evolution, physical evolution, it started with the study of origin and evolution of humans. Physical anthropology actually started with the study of origin and evolution of human physically. Okay, so that we anyways covered it previously. Okay, so in addition to this, what else do we study in biological anthropology is, so when we were studying about the origin and evolution of humans, we realized that it is because the genes underwent change. When they underwent change, we evolved. We are different from other animals because our genetic makeup is different. So we realized that actually the physical evolution is because of change in the genes. So that led to lot of studies on genes and genetic changes, etc. So therefore, in biological anthropology, about 20% of the topics we will be studying about genes and how they shape the organism. How the genes, they shape the organism. So you might have studied in school Mendel's principle, Mendel's law. Yes, so those things we will be studying to understand how the genes are expressed. Okay, so while studying this, we also study human variation. So that is the main focus. So we study about human evolution, we study about human genes, and we study about human variation. Even though evolution is studied here, I have put it separately for our understanding, for better clarity. Okay, so we study about human genes, the Mendel's law, principles, etc. And we use that to understand human variation. Racial variations, okay, variations in growth and development, variation in our ability to respond to diseases. When COVID happened, not everybody had similar response, yes or no? Some people died, some people suffered, some people did not have any effect. Why is it? This is because of what you call immunity or anything like that. Ultimately, the basis of all this immunity is genetics. So we study that aspect of how people respond to diseases differently. We also see, for example, you in a tropical country are comfortable, if not very happy with the temperature over here. But imagine if a European comes to Bangalore at this time of the year, how will they be? Right? They will be not comfortable at all. They will not be able to stay. They can't go out only. Yes or no? At the same time, in the polar region, they will be very comfortable. Is that okay? But we will not be able to survive over there. Or rather, we will not be comfortable. Why? Because their genetic makeup is different and our genetic makeup is different. Is that okay? It's, for example, I happened to, a couple of years back, went on a trek to Himalayas. So along with our team from Bangalore, there were localites who were part of the team as a guide. They were the Sherpas of that region, the localites. Okay, so they were highlanders, they lived their entire life in the high altitude. But we lived in Chandra Levat, and from here when we went to that high altitude, and as we were walking, right, as we went higher up, we were getting more and more tired. Everybody else were blaming the fitness, we are getting old, we are not able to climb, etc. I was not feeling guilty because of my knowledge in anthropology. I knew we are built differently. The localites have bigger chest volume, they have more RBC, they have more efficient utilization of energy compared to us, because they have survived in high altitude. But we don't have such kind of ability because our genetic makeup is different. So climbing up for us is difficult. We need to maybe do a high altitude training, etc. for months together. But if we go there for a week or so, we will not be able to adjust so well as the Highlanders. Is that understood? So these kind of things we will study in biological anthropology. Human adaptation to different environmental conditions. High altitude, cold and desert region. Is that understood? See, for example, I'll give you another story actually. So my cousins, they decided to go to Leh and Ladakh for a boys trip. So some of them had time, so they decided to go by car. They drove from Bangalore till Leh. Okay, so they went to Delhi, from Delhi to Chandigarh, from Chandigarh to Manali through different route, they reached Leh. Okay, one of the cousins did not have time, so he decided to join them directly in Leh. So he took a flight directly to Leh. So the night they met, so the cousin who went directly from Bangalore to Leh, okay, was suffering a lot that night, was not able to breathe, he was finding it very difficult. But all others who drove and went were very comfortable, and they were constantly teasing the other guy, you have become old, you are not able to withstand this difficult thing, you are incapable, physically unfit, this and all. Okay, but I had the knowledge of biological anthropology. Can you tell me why? And that's how we will also understand later also, why the cousins who went by road and the one who came by flight were adapted differently? Can anybody tell that? Sudden change, or what we call it as acclimatization. Have you heard this word, acclimatization? So the road journey, they did not go all of a sudden on one day. They took almost 5 days. So gradually they elevated their altitude. And as they gradually elevated their altitude, what happened? They were getting acclimatized. Their body was getting acclimatized. So it took 3 to 4 days for them to reach Leh. By then they got acclimatized. But the other cousin who went directly to Leh on flight, he did not have time to get acclimatized. His body was under shock. He got acclimatized after 3 to 4 days. But he had to listen to all the taunts for that 3 days. These are the things that we study in physical or biological anthropology. How humans adapt to high altitude. Our body has homeostasis mechanism through which we try to maintain an equilibrium with the outside environment. What mechanisms are those is what we will be studying in biological anthropology. Right? So these are the things that we study: race and racism, ecological anthropology, where we study human adaptation to different environment, growth and development, and how do they affect depending on different culture, society, country, temperature, seasons. All right. Demographic variations, meaning the mortality rate, fertility rate, how it is different in different parts of the world, and we apply that knowledge to human welfare. Like knowledge of biological anthropology today are being used in the advancement of sports. Okay, in sports medicine, knowledge of anthropology is used. Okay, how to improve the efficiency, identify the right person. For example, in Australia, okay, in Australian Sport Research Institution, they are conducting research to identify gene level performance of individual. So they have identified alpha actin gene. There is a gene called as alpha actin, which is responsible for metabolism of sugar. So they have found that some gene helps to generate more energy efficiently, and they will be good for marathon runners. So they have identified that gene. Okay, you have this gene, you are good in marathon, practice marathon. You are good in high jump, you do this. So biological anthropologists are today used to improve sports. Okay, that field is called as kinanthropology. Similarly, biological anthropologists are used in forensic medicine to identify individuals, victims, criminals, paternity disputes. Okay, anthropologists are used to help solve these cases. For example, 9/11 attack of US, when the building collapsed, the Twin Towers, so many victims, bodies could not have been discovered without the help of anthropologists. Is that okay? Paternity disputes, all those things are being solved. Criminal cases like blood samples, they try to identify who the individual is through doing a DNA fingerprinting. Anthropologists are being used there. They are used for designing equipments to make the equipments more safe, more efficient, like the car seat belts, the helmets. All these are being devised because one helmet will not fit the entire human race. No, some people have big head, some people have small head. So we need to devise these helmets based on race, based on different population, male, female, etc. Again, anthropologists are being used over here. So several such applications are there of biological anthropology. Okay. So that's all. That is what is studied in anthropology in UPSC. Okay. So socio-cultural, Indian, tribal, cultural evolution and physical evolution, and biological anthropology. That's all. These are the 5 broad headings. You go back home and you can read the entire syllabus once. You might not understand, but you can at least try and get familiar. We'll wait for the questions later. Is it okay? Yeah. So this is about the syllabus, right? Some facts I am sure all of you might be aware as of now, because you might have got yourself orientation to GS and other things. So you have 2 papers, right? In anthropology, you have 5 papers of GS, 4 GS and 1 essay, right? 2 optional papers. Okay. So each paper is 250 marks for 3 hours on the same day, morning and evening. All right. So basically we have 8 questions. Just to get yourself familiar, this will be there even in your welcome document, you can see it. So there will be how many questions? 8 questions. Out of this 8 questions, you will have to write how many? 5 questions, not all 8. Okay. So candidates have to attempt 5 out of 8. All right. It looks something like this. So paper 1, okay. So paper 1 and paper 2. As I told you, paper 2 consists of Indian and tribal. Paper 1 consists of socio-cultural, evolution and biological anthropology. So that's there in paper 1 and paper 2. Is that okay? So there are mix of how questions are asked. The first, second, third, fourth question in section A. In section B you have 5, 6, 7 and 8 questions. Totally 8 questions. So the first question has 5 10 marker. Each question carries 10 mark. There are 8 questions. Each question has 50 marks. Each question is 50 marks. So you have 8 questions, out of which you have to write 5 questions. Each question is 50 marks, equals 250 marks. Okay, so how the questions are? So the first question and the 5th question are 10 markers. So there will be 5 10 marker questions. Second, third, fourth, 6th, 7th, 8th, you will have 3 questions. That is 15 marker, 15 marker and 20 marker, which is nothing but 50. So there are 50 marks questions. Is that okay? So first question and the 5th questions are compulsory. First and 5th question is compulsory, you have to write it. Out of these 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, you have to write 3 questions in such a way that you at least write 1 from each section. Either you write 2 from here and 1 from here, or 1 from here and 2 from here. Is that okay? That's how the questions you have to attempt. Anyways, these as you go, you will get used to the thing. what I want you to understand is minimum marks is 10 marker, maximum marks is 20 marker. Is that okay? And 15 marker. So that means what can you understand from this? See, ultimately exam mein strategies are important. Not blindly you study. So here minimum you have to write for a 10 marker and maximum you have to write for a 20 marker. Maximum 20 marker means about 300 words. 10 marker means maximum you will be able to write 150 to 175 words. Is that okay? So that means what your note should contain. For every topic, maximum you should have at least 300 words in your head. Because maximum that's what is going to be asked. Is that okay? So for every topic in the syllabus, that's how we will be tackling. We will be preparing such a way that if a 10 marker is asked from that topic, you will be able to write, and a 20 marker it is asked also, you should be able to write. Not more than that, not less than that. We don't have to worry for a 60 marker, 100 mark. We don't want an essay. Nobody has to write an essay. What are we going to write maximum? 300 words. So prepare enough to write a 300 words. Not more, not less. Because you get carried away and you will study a lot of information. And you will not be using it, is what I am trying to say. Did you understand what I am trying to say? See, now understanding the syllabus is over. Now is the most important part, the strategies. Because that is what is important for you to clear. That's why you are here also. The right strategy. Okay, you don't have to prepare an essay for a topic. Because you will never have a scope to write. I will give you 10 points, you by heart that 10 points, understand that 10 points and you write. But what do students do who don't clear the exam? They try to add 10 more points to what I give. There is one, no way you can remember it. Number two, nowhere you can use it. Because maximum you will be writing for 300 words. For 300 words you need 10 points, which I have given. But student will feel insecure about it and will read more and add more points which they will never use, which you should not do, is what I am trying to stress upon here. So these are the reasons why you should be joining the class, not for the content alone, because content is there. You Google also, you will get content on anthropology. But what to do, what not to do, by the time you learn, it is going to be 5 years. Is that okay? That is the problem. Even in GS, what makes this examination difficult? What are you studying in GS? Polity, economy. What books are you reading? What level books? School level books, maybe now it has been made into a textbook, that's all. But ultimately you are reading what? NCERT level information. You are all graduates who have studied more than what you are studying now. Yes or no? Polity, civics you would have already studied in school. Science you would have already studied in school. Then why is it so difficult to clear the exam? Anthropology also, if I give you textbook, you read it, aram se you can understand it. And yet it is very difficult to clear the exam. Why? It is not the subject. Subject is the most easiest. This exam is the most toughest exam, not because of its syllabus. Is that okay? If you have done medical science or if you want to know, it is so vast and so big and so complex. What we study here is chottu, it's just 5%, 10% of what I have studied in my MBBS. But yet it is difficult. What is the reason that it is difficult? Because simply it is competitive examination. Lakhs of people like you are attending classes, preparing for 3-4 years, and yet they can't clear the exam because of competition, not because of the syllabus, not because of anthropology or any other optional, or because of GS. GS, what is that? Polity, history and all same thing. School level you would have studied. Gandhiji you already know in school. What is the new thing you are doing here? Is it so technical that you are not able to understand it? No, it is simply competition. And how do you beat this competition? Not just simply by hard work, but the right strategy. Knowing what to do More importantly, knowing what not to do, if you ask me. So that is where I come into play to help you realize that in as short span as possible. I am not going to do any magic or going to predict questions and give it to you. No. I am going to prepare you so that any type of question is thrown at you, you should be able to answer with the right strategy. Because I have made lot of mistakes and failed several times. Therefore, I know what not to do. I know what you are going to do also. That's why I told you one example here. So as to prevent you from doing that. In 4 to 5 months, you should be ready to write mains with anthropology. That is the objective. For that, what I am going to do now, the strategies are important. So first, getting yourself familiar with how questions are asked. 10 marker to 20 marker. 200 words to maximum 300 to 400 words. Not more, not less. Because see, we have limited information capacity, storage capacity. We can't expand the memory. Okay, so with the limited memory that we have, maximum utilization we should do. If we go on overloading ourselves with lot of information, we can't process it, we will not use it. So that is what we intend to do in our classes. So anyway, so this is what we also plan to do in the class. First, we need to build knowledge. So a lot of new things we are going to read now, whether with respect to Bridewell, whether respect to animism, whether respect to different types of institutions, theories, etc. So we will try and understand them in our class, build our knowledge. After that, we need to analyze it from the exam point of view, not just leave it at that. How it is going to be asked in the exam. What kind of key points that we need to write. What the examiner expects. We analyze it. And then we represent it, present it, write it. Okay, so these are the three-pronged strategy. Understand, analyze, present. Is that okay? All three has to go hand in hand. From the day one, we will focus on that. I am not going to do everything of anthropology. What is going to be asked in the exam, what is there in the syllabus, we will stick to that. Is that okay? So this is how we are going to do. We need to build the knowledge. This I feel anybody can do it. But the problem is analysis and the presentation part. What to study, what not to study, which one to focus more, which is the strength area, value for money, which one has it. All that comes over here and the presentation. So that's what we will try and do in our classes, the three-pronged strategies. And we will try to cover it in 100 classes starting from 15th of April. And this is the timetable, the 5 sections. So socio-cultural and theorists, about 40 classes. Indian anthropology, 15 classes. Tribal, 12 classes. Evolution, 13 classes. Biological anthropology, about 12 classes. So roughly about 100 classes we will be covering anthropology. And it has been done. See, I have been doing this from past 10 years, so I know it. It usually from 95 classes to about 105, depending upon you guys. If you are good, I can compress the class. If you need more attention, I will be expanding. But 95 classes to about 105 classes. So last week I completed the batch, about 102 classes I completed. So that's how many days I am going to take. I am not going to put a target from this day to this day. That never works for me. I can assure you that in 100 classes I am going to do it. Is that okay? So you have to balance this with your general studies. This is the priority right now. After December this year, prelims and GS becomes your priority. Till then, anthropology is the priority, because trust me, in your mains, anthropology is the one which is going to give you that rank. GS will help you float, but optional subject anthropology will help you clear the exam. So the more attention you give in the beginning of your preparation now, the better you are going to get. This is the class timetable. All these things will be available to you in your welcome document. Right. So how do we master this anthropology optional? Very simple. Okay, so we will try and understand, as I told you, the concepts. It's very important. If you have concept clarity, the way you write answers is going to be very beautiful also. It's going to be impressive. Without knowing if you write something, there will be no connection and the examiner will not feel comfortable giving you marks. So, knowing the concept and the stories. Once we know the story, note for every word in the syllabus. From what point of view? From this much. 100, 250, 300 words. For every part of the syllabus, you will have notes. Because see, there is no one single textbook. Some I will be providing, but otherwise there will be no one single textbooks. So when you write them, you will be learning, you will be articulating while writing. So I believe in the beginning we will be writing all these things as I will be explaining, then when I will stop and I will dictate and you will make notes. So about 3 to 4 notes you will have, which you will revise at least 20 to 30 times before your mains examination. You don't need any other source, I can guarantee you that. Okay, now revise repeatedly, at least 20 times before your mains examination. Okay, it should be so reflexive, you should have revised it so well, it should be reflexive, that means your hand should do the writing. You should not be thinking in the exam, you should have revised so well. See now if I tell you 6 sevens are, you can tell, 8 nines are, you can tell, hopefully you can tell. Okay, why can you tell that? Because you have memorized it so much. Are you telling, oh 8 nines are, so 8 squares I will draw. Are you doing that? Okay, you have understood the concept that 8 into 9 means you are adding 8 9 times. Correct? No, that's what, are you writing 8 plus 8 plus 8? Are you doing that? No. It's coming very reflexively. That's how you have to prepare for anthropology. Unlike GS, anthropology is predictable. So therefore you need to revise. Write and revise. Okay, and write, make a list of important facts, data, case studies, which you will be adding to your answers. That is what will give value to your answers, weightage. Okay, and then answer writing. Practice answer writing, previous year questions, the questions that I give in the class, tests or anything, you keep practicing on a daily, weekly, and also give tests. So we will be giving 5 tests in our course. Along with that, you can write daily, weekly, etc. That's up to you. Beginning may I have seen students will have full josh, they will write every day. It will grow, but have it sustainably. Have it once a week. So we will have class from Monday to Friday. Saturday, Sunday, keep it for revision. We take a break on Saturday, Sunday for me also, for you also, so that you can revise on Saturday and Sunday. It's not about completing the syllabus in the next 100 days. No, I will take about 4 or 5 months to complete it. But in a sustainable manner, so that we take breaks, so that you study, so that I also can be active in the class. Is that okay? So you have enough time because you are all preparing for next year. So you can cover it in the next 4 to 5 months in a very sustainable manner. It's not like you peak once in the beginning and then collapse after that. So gradually we will build. After 4 months, you should have that full energy to face the exam, like as though it is this year itself. So that's how, very simple, we will keep our strategy. No separate book, no separate textbook, no additional materials is required. I can guarantee you that. Comfortably I am telling you with lot of arrogance, also as lot of attitude I am telling you, the notes that I am giving will be from different sources. The whole idea of you coming to the class should serve that purpose. If I tell you I will do this, you read 10 more books, that does not serve the purpose. What you do in class for 3 hours, 3 hours class plus 2 hours of reading or whatever, how much ever time you give, ideally at least this much, 2 hours or 1 hour. What do you do in this? Read before coming, read after going back. That's all. You don't have to by heart and remember right now. Okay, so Saturday and Sunday you revise once what has been done in the entire week. That's all. Be comfortable, be in the class, be connected. That's all. You can't remember everything during the class times. Once you finish the class, you start revising 20 times is when you will remember. The 20th time is when you will remember. So this is what I expect from you, 3 hours class plus about 1 hour. If you have GS and it is more hectic, you can reduce it, not a problem. But Be active. It should not be like today I teach something, tomorrow you come for the class, you'll be like, what just happened? You should have that connect. Is that okay? What has been done previously, you should see, read it once quickly and then do it. Okay. Right. So this is what we will be doing in the class. I mean, very quickly, I don't like to do this, but I'm forced to do this. So you have decided, see, anthropology is a very, I mean, if I have to reason out one reason why you should take anthropology is mainly because it is a very small syllabus. Interesting that's a different matter all of a sudden, but it's a very small syllabus compared to every other option. Very limited, and you can revise it several number of times, unlike other options. Because over here, one of the major resource that you have, or rather the resource that is very valuable to you guys is time. If you want to clear this exam in the 2 years of your preparation, you need to conserve time. So the anthropology gives you that advantage where you can cover these topics with very less resource, that is your time. So that is the advantage of anthropology. Otherwise, with respect to difficulty, with respect to interest, everything is equal to any other optional subject. I'm not going to say that is good, that is bad, this is good. Nothing like that. Is that okay? Every subject has its challenges. Every subject has toppers. Majority of the students who have attended my class have not cleared the exam. That's the fact. If any optional also, that's the fact. We have thousands of students who enroll in the institute, only 100 students clear. That means 900 students don't clear. Is that okay? Every optional has toppers. I don't want to justify our success from somebody else. I want you to be successful. Can you clear with anthropology? 100% yes. Is that okay? Now, if you see, it's easy to understand. It's very interesting because we are touching upon the superficial things. Like economy, we are not going to economic theories. We are not going to talk about Marxian theories, Kant theory, that no. We are going to say that economy, people are hungry, they will do hunting, they will eat, that's all. Okay, religion also, we are not going into the spiritual or philosophical aspect. Society also, we are not going to do too deep. Biology also, we are not going to go beyond genetics or Mendelian genetics. Is that okay? So, easy to understand, interesting to prepare. Less to remember, that's the advantage if you ask me. Time and resource, that's shortage, so less to remember. Right, even Gajni can remember so much. Okay, next, it is scoring. It has been scoring forever. Okay, so if you put in your hard work, put in the right hard work in the right direction, it is scoring. Less effort, as I told you. You can give a lot of time for answer writing, for GS because of anthropology. Then anyone can master this subject. It doesn't require somebody to have any expertise in any background. It is an open-ended subject which anybody with any background, if you are able to understand English, if you are able to understand my classmate, if you are able to, if you have studied 10th standard science, I think anybody can master. That's all. That's the thing that you need. If you found 10th standard science difficult, then this also will be difficult. If you found 10th standard science manageable, this is okay. And English is necessary. Okay, so anyone can master this subject. And it will also help you GS. You have a head start from all others, okay, because of anthropology, lot of issues from society, from tribal, from welfare, regionalism, ethnicity, ethicals, values, norms, etc., from ethics paper, essay paper, all of that will be covered over here, and you become a good administrator at the end. You will be more sensitive to people's problem, you understand their cultural practices, so you become a good administrator also. Tomorrow, anthropology will help you a lot to be a good civil servant. Alright. So, at the end, last, why you should take anthropology is because I will be providing you a good roadmap to simplify your preparation. We will be simplifying anthropology. I will be providing you the notes for the entire syllabus. You don't have to read any other textbook, any other notes. If at all something, I will tell you to add to it. Okay, the textbooks, I will be providing you workbooks which will have figures, diagrams which you will have to write in the class. So workbooks will be provided to you. Answer writing we can do. Okay, value addition contents will be provided to you in the form of handouts, case studies, data, facts, examples. Then we will be also having test series. Okay, as I told you, 5 tests will be part of this program. Okay, and you can contact me anytime. You can write down this. Okay, my Telegram ID. You can contact me anytime, share your answers, etc. So this is what the reason what I would say you can take anthropology, because at the end any optional would require a good mentor. Okay, so somebody who has been successful and somebody who has been also seen a lot of failures. So I have done a lot of mistakes through which I have been able to face success. I have given 3 UPSC interviews. I have cleared UPSC ka assistant commandant CRPF police force. I have also cleared Karnataka Administrative Service. Okay, so I have given 3 interviews even in the state services. Alright, so I have seen all of that. I have also not cleared mains 3 times. Okay, so that has also made me realize a lot of things, mistakes that I have done. I have cleared mains 3 times, so I know how to address those problems also. So making your life much more simpler is what is my objective. So if you clear, I can add on some more number to my resume. So therefore, my attempt will be to give you 100% towards this subject. Okay, so this is my support, and bonus for you guys. I am also a life coach, so therefore I will also give you some life lessons to keep yourself motivated, both mentally, physically, as well as spiritually also. Okay, so that is a bonus that you will get, and frequently some exam strategies also will be part of this session. So I hope I marketed well about the class. Anyway, so that's up to you guys to decide. Now, before we end the class, a little bit about exam strategy, whichever optional, whichever subject that you take, right? So we are in the month of March, let's say April 2024. Okay, so you guys are going to, if you follow the strategy very well, okay, you will become, now you are all common citizens, okay, you will become extraordinary citizen in the month of June 2026. That's all. That's the most recent that you can become a celebrity. Okay, I don't think any of you are giving prelims this time. No, okay, few of them, but if you are not prepared for optional, it becomes challenging. But anyways, so that's your answer. But majority of you are giving the, next year, right? So that is in May 2025 is when you are going to give your prelims. Yes, so 2026 is when you will become extraordinary citizens, celebrities. Yes. So if everything goes well, what you are going to do, because it is very crucial. The next 2 years of your life is very crucial. The kind of investments that you are going to make, the kind of decisions that you are going to take is going to decide what is going to be your status over here. Are you going to change your optional? Are you going to be sitting elsewhere? Are you going to be sitting in the tea stall and crying? It depends on you. There are students, for example, 3 years back when I took one of the batch, 4 years back when I started here, in the first batch itself, the first attempt only 1 person cleared. He is in Russia. The same batch student are still coming and asking for test series in my, this one, for test series. You get it? So 3 years down, somebody will be in service, somebody will be still in Chandra layout running from one test series to another. If you have the right strategy, everything will change. The same, it's not just about hard work, it's about the right strategy also. So now if you ask me what should your strategy be, now April to about December, you should dedicate for learning, where you will be learning prelims, mains and anthropology. Is that okay? Till December, you will learn. Okay, so your ratio can be 80% learning, 20% revision. I would suggest you to write this one because it is very useful for you. If you forget tomorrow again, you can go through this. When I say 80% learning means you learn new things, you make notes, you read textbooks, you underline textbooks, you keep everything ready. And at the same time, 20% keep revising. But after December, so when in this 20% revise and test, revision and test. So the strategies that I give you is based on the experience which you will face, okay, after 3-4 attempts. Why do you want to wait so far? So learn from our success and mistakes. So this 80% that you do now, April, okay, May, June, July, August, September. By that time you will finish anthropology. GS will keep going on. Okay, you keep reading, learning new things, reading textbooks, whatever is prescribed, underline them, make notes, make micro notes, keep everything ready. Can you remember all of it? No. You will forget it when it is next year. But you should keep it ready in a book. Keep it ready somewhere. Is that okay? So now after December, that is January to May. January to May, you give your prelims. Here what you have to do, 20% reading, 80% revision. 80% revision and test. When I say 80% revision, what do you do? The notes that you would have made, the textbooks that you would have read and underlined, that you have to start revising. You don't read new things then. New things only 20%. What do you read there? Some new current affairs, some topics which you forgot to read. That's all. But 80% should be on revision. Shouldn't do ulta, because now they are full josh, no? They will try to remember now only. Is that okay? But they will forget next year anyways. And next year what they will do? They will start reading new things. So at the time of exam, what will happen? They would not have revised enough number of time, so they will not be able to clear the exam. Then 2026 will be the next attempt you give. 2027 will be your results. 2027, what will your age be? You only calculate. Is that okay? So every time you make mistakes, you add 1 year to your life of aspirant. Is that okay? So this way. Then after May to October, what will you be preparing? Mains. Here also 90% revision and test, and 10% reading new things. Is that okay? Now anthro you would have done everything, notes, everything is there. All that you have to do next year is, after prelims, revise. No reading new things, only revising. You will have 4 books, sit and by heart. 3 3s are, 3 4s are, 3 5s are. Like that you will sit and by heart. You understood? That time I have seen student reading new books. Gone. Hit wicket. Is that understood? You want to read new books? Read it now. When? Over here. Not there. Whatever you do now, do it concrete, keep it ready. All that you have to do next year is revise. If you prepare this well this year and keep everything for revision next year, 2025, if you only revise 10 to 20%, add new things. I will give in writing you, if you cannot, I will give in writing that you can clear it in first attempt itself. If you do it ulta, then it's a problem. If you read next year new things, then you will not be able to clear. So finish all your learning, GS, prelims, mains and anthropology this year. Next year keep for revision and give your test from January to May, prelims test, May to October or whatever is the mains date, mains test. After that, interview. Interview ke liye you can start preparing again for the prelims or mains next year, whatever, depending on your level of preparation. If you do this, June 2026, we will have Abhishek on your photograph. That's how it is going to be. Simple strategy. You guys have started at the right time because you have this much time here. Otherwise, if you are writing prelims, you will be in a hurry. Now you have enough time till December. See, by September you will finish your anthropology. October, November, December you will have time to revise anthropology also and close it, pack it and put it in the cupboard. After prelims, open it, start reading. But everything should be ready. You should have understood, the information should be in your book. After prelims, you revise the book. Is that understood, all of you? Yes, I'll keep repeating this. 80%, 20% in the beginning, 20% reading new things, 80% revision. Mains mein 80%, 90% revision, 10% some extra points you add. World history you should have finished. Governance you should have finished. Ethics you should have finished. Anthropology you should have finished. IR you should have finished. Geography you should have finished. Disaster management you should have finished. Don't add anything new. Everything should be ready. Disaster management 15 pages you should have. International relation 50 pages you should have. Geography 100 pages you should have. So after prelims all that you do is revision. Don't sit then search, oh, modern history, which book shall I read? Gone. Then that attempt is gone. Many students do that. After prelims, they will go, oh, modern history, which one, sir? Which world history, which textbook? This one is good, that one is good. Gone. You will not. I will tell you, or anybody will tell you, no, it's all fine, everything is fine. But there is no chance. It's a competitive examination. Do this 2026 June, you will clear the exam. Guaranteed. Okay. Doesn't require only intelligence. Is that okay? Average students also can clear the exam if you have the right strategy. Know your strengths, work on your weakness. What strength is there? You amplify it. What weakness is there? Manage it. You can't remove it. You manage it. See, for example, I am very bad in facts, let's say. I can't remember dates. When India got independence, I don't know. But I am smart. So I will say India got independence in the first half of the 20th century. Am I wrong? No. 1940 is what? 20th century, middle of 20th century. Am I wrong? No. The examiner will think, oh, this fellow wrote creatively, I'll give extra marks. You understood? When did Congress come into existence? I don't know. Late quarter of 19th century. Examiner will be like, oh my God, he's so creative. Everybody writes like this. He has written so creatively. Good. Creative writing, intelligence, smartness, jugaad. India, see, tomorrow when you become DC also, you need to have that only. You think all resources will be available for you. There's a disaster, you think everybody will come help you. With what you have to run the show. Jugaad. Here, what is the resource? Time. Everything else is expandable. The investment that you make in class is an investment. It's not an expenditure. Time is a resource, the only resource that you have. That is very valuable because you guys might be in this 23, 24, 25, 27 age. By 3 years, you will become 30. Is that okay? And 30 May, all problems will start. Physical, mental, spiritual, social, marriage, all of it will start. Before that, finish this exam. Is that okay, guys? So this is what is the first tip on your exam strategy that we have. Reference books and all, I will share the welcome document. In that there is a reference book. This is only because some students ask me what reference book. Some people like the books to be kept in their cupboard. Good. But do you need it for the exam? From anthropology, if you attend my class, definitely not. Is that okay? You don't need any other source. What I give you is from all the source. You can be less assured because I want you to clear, no? Because so that I can put your photo and show that this person was my student. So I will put in the hard work, you put in the smart work and make notes and other things. These will be shared with you guys. I don't want to, we have shortage of time. So these are the books that you can refer to. This is the biological anthropology book that I have written. So that book also you can refer. Alright, and some warning, don't read guidebooks. There are several guidebooks which is very tempting, okay, to read because it's all in question answer, but they are not good. Do not complicate your preparation, keep it very simple. Do not get obsessed with information, case studies, don't get overloaded with information. Don't be information hoarder, okay. You need to have the right information, not more, not less. Alright. It's a difficult examination because 11 lakh people write this exam. Don't think it is easy. If I get up early in the morning, attend class, I will clear the exam. No, it doesn't work like that. Because 11 lakh like you are giving exam across India, out of which 14 to 15,000 people only write optionals. The rest of them don't even write optional subject. Only 3,000 people give their interview. and only about 1000 people get selected. And in that 1000 people, only 100 people get IAS. In that, only 50 people are GM approximately. In that, only 5 people will get Karnataka, if you are from Karnataka or whichever state. In that, only 2 people will get from inside Karnataka, matlab if you are Kannadiga, only 2 people Kannadigas will get. The other 3 will be from outside Karnataka. That's the rule. Out of this 2, 1 will be GM, 1 will be reserved. So if you are planning to get IAS in Karnataka, this is the numbers. Is that okay? So the choice is yours. Examination therefore is difficult. You need the right strategy. You need to work hard, okay, to crack the exam. Obviously you need to work hard. It's not like I come morning, stayed in Chandra layout, ate PG food, so therefore I worked hard, I should deserve to clear the exam. No. Lakhs of people are doing the same thing. You need the right smart work. Yes, as I told you, read only what is required, make notes of only what is asked, keep it as crisp as possible, work smart. The right strategy, as I told you, when to read what not to read, what to read, how to read, which books to read, which books not to read, etc. And the right mentor will be a game changer. Okay, every successful people have coaches, have mentors. Virat Kohli also has a coach who has coached them. Sachin Tendulkar also had a coach who coached them. Okay, I understand romanticism in self-study, but it takes time, it takes effort. The right coach will make a lot of difference in your life, which I have realized unfortunately a little bit later. So therefore, make the right choice in your preparation stage. So that's it guys, this is about anthropology orientation. So we'll be starting with the classes from 15th of April. Okay, so 100 days we will be covering our anthropology syllabus. Will be interesting, we will enjoy the class, but it will be mainly focused from clearing the exam point of view and not only from anthropology point of view. Is that okay guys? Thank you so much. Now if you have any question, yes please. So you had a question? So what? No. So homosexuality is not wrong. If you are asking me, I am saying homosexuality is as equal as heterosexuality. So there is nothing to be fearful. See, society is changing. We can't deny that. So when changes occur, new value systems will develop. There were times 50 years back when somebody gave, voting rights for women, somebody maybe also asked the question, what if women are given equal rights? What are you sure? Like now if we say homosexuality also should be given equal rights to adopt. Correct? No, homosexual couples are not allowed to adapt. They're not allowed to inherit properties or give properties to their spouse. Don't you think we are denying them the rights? Homosexual, they're living happily their life, education, they're also going to office, working, contributing towards the economy, being good people, paying their taxes, contributing to the society. But we are denying them adoption rights. We are denying them inheritance rights. We are denying them marital rights. We are denying them right to make a family. It's like saying 100 years back, women giving education. My God, why should women get education? Now they'll start asking rights from us. So that's how it is. So value systems will change, more will become the right. So homosexuality as it is, it's, this, if you ask me, it is something which is personal, it should be let be. Yeah. Okay. Anything else with respect to anthropology, strategy? Hope it is clear. Okay. I hope you make the right choice or whatever, however you decide. You need more clarity, you can ask me later also. Right. So I will end the class then. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day.